Yo guys, S-Man here, and today I'm continuing the Pokemon What If journeys took place in Galar. I've been working hard on part 2 and coming up with some ideas for future parts. And yeah, let's move on to the video. But first we gotta recap some of the characters and their Pokemon. So first up, we got Ash. He wants to be a Pokemon Master, and his rival is Hop, and he currently has on his team Pikachu, Scorbunny, and Sobble. We're gonna see more Ash battles, and yeah. Then we see Go. His goal is to catch Mew, and in order to do that, he wants to train strong Pokemon in order to battle it. And he's really intelligent, but could easily be blinded by his obsession with Mew. And he currently has a Ralts, which he had hatched from an egg. Then we have Sonia, whose goal is to be a Pokemon professor, and she currently has her Yamper with her. And now we have Hop, whose goal is to defeat his brother Leon and become the champion. And the known Pokemon Hop has at the moment are Grookey, Wooloo, and Rookity. Now, I didn't put this part in any of the parts, but it's revealed that Morpeko had stayed with Team Rocket, but none of them caught it, just similar to the original anime. But Team Rocket's goal is to catch strong Pokemon and Pikachu. And they currently have Jesse's Choodle, and Jesse's Wobbuffet, and Morpeko is just living with them, similar to Beware and how it did in Journeys originally. Now we have Leon, who is the champion of Galar, and his only known Pokemon at the moment is Charizard. Now we're gonna move on to the more of events in the What If universe. This part really starts off with Magnolia assigning Sonia a mission, and if she completes it, she will become a legit Pokemon professor. And since this is Sonia's goal and dream, she obviously is going to accept. Her mission is to find the origins of Dynamax. So Ash and Go agree to help her, obviously, since she lets them live with her, and they're all good friends. So Sonia explains how Pokemon Dynamax, and to them, Ash and Go, being in the Galar stadiums, needing Galar particles, so the locations are Galar stadiums in the wild area. So they go to the wild area to look for Gigantamax Pokemon. And after a while of searching and not finding it, they get tired and take a break by the Watchtower ruins in the wild area. Ash should go wondering what the tower is. Sonia explained to them that it was more of a defense tower during a great war in Galar's past. And it's been destroyed since then and been ruins over the years. But they are suddenly attacked by a group of ghost Pokemon, all of the Gengar line. So Ash and Go obviously are gonna fight them off, and they both want to catch that Gengar because it does look a little powerful. So yeah, they both try to catch Gengar as they fight off the ghost types, but they both fail when the tower suddenly glows like a purple and releases a beam similar to how it does in the game, and causes Gengar to Gigantamax. And the Gigantamax Gengar scares off its friends, and it attacks Ash, Go, Sonia, and their Pokemon. So Sonia, having Yamper in the Pokeball, sends it out, and Ash sends out Scorbunny and Sobble, and they all have to have a raid battle with the Gengar. Team Rocket sees this since they were in the wild area, as they went to Motostoke to get food for themselves, as Morpeko eats all their food. Sorry. But Morpeko Morpeko has been eating all the food at their base, so they have to like go to like Moto Soak and like eat out at restaurants. But James has leftovers for Morpeko, and we see in the background Morpeko is looking for them, wanting food. Then after seeing the Gengar, they run up to them, see the twerps, and it is revealed that Scorbunny and Sobble had both fainted since none of Scorbunny's moves really could do any effect on the Gengar, and Sobble is a bit of a coward, so it would really want to continue battling it. And then goes Ralts still around, Yamper, and Pikachu. So Team Rocket step in with Choodle and Wobbuffet. And then Gengar, since all of these Pokemon are basically unexperienced except for Pikachu, but Pikachu really can't do anything against a giant Pokemon that it can't do that much against it. It's easily defeating them until Morpeko shows up wanting the food. When James has the brilliant idea of throwing the leftover food into the Gengar's open mouth, since Gengar's mouth in the Gigantamax form looks like that. So he throws the leftover food into the mouth, and Morpeko, obviously, it's already in its dark form. It uses Aura Wheel and rams into the Gengar's mouth. And it does so much damage that it becomes ungigantamaxed. So then Gengar, who's mad that this little Morpeko lost, uses Shadow Ball, but it hits Ashko with Sonia, and it blasts him off somewhere to Team Rocket. Then, with Morpeko still looking for the food, Gengar takes it out of his mouth, throws it at Team Rocket, and Morpeko Aura Wheels to get the food and blast off Team Rocket. They go back to the lab, where Sonia explains that she feels that the Watchtower runes might be connected to the origins of Dynamax, since that all that energy was released before Gengar Gigantamaxed. And Magnolia says this is a great start to her mission, but she still needs to find more about it, and Sonia agrees. So Sonia starts to have like a little build like chalk or whatever that kind of board is called, where she ties the clues up and connects them. But yeah, she has one of those in the lab, but I didn't obviously put that in. And it is also revealed that the Gengar had followed them back to the lab and is now watching every move they have. Now, Sonia is on her way to become a Pokemon professor, and her her goal is to basically find the origin of Dynamax. And her clues at the moment are the Watchtower root runes have stronger Dynamax energy than regular spots in the wild area. Okay, moving on now. Ash, Pikachu, Scorbunny, and Sobble training since the little ceremony about signing up to the Galar League is said to be in a few days, based off what Leon and Hop had said to him a few days prior. So he's training, getting some last minute training in before he starts to take on the gym challenge. That is when Goh walks in with Ralts, and Goh reveals that the Pokemon food that had just been shipped to them has been stolen by a mysterious Pokemon. So Ash suggests they can have a stakeout and watch to see if it happens again. So they order another shipment of food and they watch out for the food. And when they do this, they both fall asleep. So then Sonia sees the two sleeping outside and wonders what they were doing. And when they wake up, they explain that they were trying to have a stakeout for whatever's been stealing their Pokemon food. And so they keep falling asleep, but they fell asleep. And Sonia then suggests that it could be the Morpeko that stays with Team Rocket, since Team Rocket's headquarters aren't too far from here, and Morpeko has shown to have traveled far to get food before, as shown in during the Gengar events. So Ash volunteers to go look for Morpeko and attempt to catch it to bring it here. So Ash goes off to find Team Rocket's base, which he does. And then when Team Rocket try to see, hey, what are you doing in our base? They attack him. But Ash uses Pikachu's Thunderbolt, which blasts them off real quick. Then Ash finds the Morpeko and attempts to catch it, but fails. So he decides just to bring out like a little snack he had on him and lure Morpeko back to the lab. Back at the lab, Go had just set up some traps for the Pokemon to see if it falls under the traps. So when he looks away, he's all confident that the traps will work. So he looks away, and when he looks away, a Pokemon sets off all the traps and steals the food he has baked. And Go is obviously upset that he had just set up all these traps and something outsmarted every single one of them. Ashton arrives with the Morpeko, and when they tell Ash about the traps and how they they didn't catch the Pokemon doing it, Ash says it can't be Morpeko because Morpeko was with him. So he feeds Morpeko, obviously feeling bad for it, and then when it becomes normal again, it walks away and thanks Ash for the food and waves and goes back to Team Rocket's base. Ash and Go then brainstorm ideas of what it could be, and so obviously. Ash suggests that it might be a Snorlax, but Go, being the overthinker he is, says that nothing could outsmart him, and so he suggests it's Mew. And Ash and Sonia both know that it obviously isn't Mew, but they are just going to go along with what Go says to keep his confidence up, since he kind of just got outsmarted and he might be in a little rough spot at this moment. So they all agree to stick out. And they set up the traps along with Pokemon to fight off whatever thing comes, mostly what Go thinks it's a Mew. They then see something run past them, but it's not hitting the traps and it's getting past some Pokemon. So Go just throws a Pokeball at it and catches it. And Go's super excited that he just caught his Mew, that he's cheering. Him and Roll, he goes over, hugs Rolls, cheering, and he picks up the Pokeball. Or Sonia walks in to him picking up the Pokeball, and during that, he said he's gonna let out the Pokemon. So he does, and it might shock you guys, but it's not me, it's actually Skwovet. The Skwovet had been sneaking in to the lab, grabbing the food. Ash and Sonia then think Go is gonna have like a little mental breakdown, since that's kind of how he reacted to Ralt, but Go doesn't. He actually shows that he's matured a little bit since then, and he doesn't freak out, and he just he doesn't freak out. Sorry. And he reveals that he's learned a lot since Ralt, and now that he's caught Skwovet, he can be friends with it, and he shouldn't be mad at it since it's not Mew. And then he grabs Skwovet in his arms and cheers, similar to how Ash would cheer for his catches. I caught a Skwovet. And then suddenly, when he is hugging his Skwovet and Ralts, Yamper walks in the room, and Yamper's a puppy and Skwovet's a squirrel, so Yamper runs at them and tries to attack it. We then cut back to Jesse, Meowth, Wobbuffet, and Chudo celebrating that they think Ash had caught Morpeko. And James is worried, but that's when Morpeko shows up, and James is happy to see Morpeko. He's going to give him a hug, but it transforms back into its angry mode and attacks Team Rocket, trying to get food. And now, moving on to the next major event. The next day after the little Skwovet situation, Ash, Scorbunny, and Sobble all wake up early to get some training in. Since that is the day. It is now the day of the ceremony, the gym challenge ceremony. So Ash decided to wake up and train with Scorbunny and Sobble. Sonia and Goh then tell Ash it's time to go to the ceremony, so they all head to Motostoke, where the ceremony is being held. They then arrive at Motostoke and speak to the guy who works at the gym, and Ash shows him his endorsement, and he is signed up for the Pokemon League. And when the guy asks, hey, what do you want your jersey number to be? Ash decides to make it 25, and this reason being Pikachu's dex number is 25. So Ash then gets his jersey and decides to try it on. That's when Hop walks up and sees them and waves hello to the gang. And Hop then gets his jersey, but shortly after, called to the field, but Ash switches out his jersey, of course, since he didn't really want to wear it onto the field. But yeah, when they're walking onto the field, Ash and Hop will accidentally walk into this guy, and he gets angry at them and runs away. The ceremony starts with Chairman Rose explaining basically how the gym challenge is done, with there being 8 gym badges you have to collect, and by the time the league starts, and the trainer and only trainers with endorsements are able to compete, since all the gym leaders are high ranking, like basically a lot of the gym leaders are like Elite 4 member or champion, as seen with Raihan level status. And the only way to get an endorsement is from a gym leader or a high-ranking official in the Galar League. And even if you're lucky, you can get one from Leon himself, similar to how Hop and Ash got theirs from Leon. Rose then introduces every gym leader, and then he ends off with Leon, and then Leon tells the crowd he's excited to take them on, and all the gym leaders agree, all 10. If you can tell, Alistair's missing, but Alistair's actually behind Leon in this shot, but I had the blocks. I was either I'm blocking B or Alistair, and I'd rather keep B, because B is going to be more important than Alistair in this scenario. But what if? So then after the ceremony, Ash and Hop are super excited, and they agreed that they're gonna go to the town right there and then. And obviously Sonia tells them they're gonna go eat lunch first with Goh, and so they go. On their way to lunch, they run into Leon, and Leon offers to go with them, and Sonia reveals that after lunch, she's gonna go study more on a specific thing with Goh. So then after the lunch, they'd go off to study a thing that could lead to the origins of Dynamax. So that means it's just Leon, Hop, and Ash, but Leon also has to go, so it's Ash and Hop. They agree to hang around Motostoke until Sonia is done, so they can then go off to the first gym. But when they're in Motostoke, they run into the same trainer from earlier, who's having a conversation with Chairman Rose and his assistant, Oriana. The trainer introduces himself as Bede, the prodigy that Chairman Rose has endorsed himself. And then he tries to insult Hop by saying that he got his endorsement by mistake, but then Hop gets up and starts to brag that his endorsement actually comes from Leon himself. And so Bede, being slightly a little jealous, but not showing it, tells Hop that he wants to see his skills in battle. So he does this. So he challenges Hop to a battle, not only to test Hop's skills, and he wants to impress Chairman Rose, who is right by him, by defeating someone that the champion endorsed himself. So Bede sends out a his Hatina, and Hop his Grookey. Hop commands for a knockoff, but Hatina avoids it and uses Psychic, hitting Grookey against a wall multiple times, and this knocks out Grookey. And since Bede won, he insults Hop, saying that Leon should be embarrassed of him, and this kind of upsets Hop. So after he had just lost from Ash, he lost to this guy, and then this guy insults him, so saying that his brother wouldn't be proud, so he runs off. Ash then steps up to Bede, telling him how rude he was. And then Bede shrugs Ash off, thinking he's weak as well, since he was hanging around Hop. Then Ash tells Bede that his insults and him as a person is just a waste of time and goes to walk off. Then Rose stops Bede as he shrugged Ash off and walked away and told him that Ash was actually the Alola champion. And Bede, and deep down, Bede cares and is like, oh, come on. Now I insulted a champion. But he pretends like he doesn't care. But he challenges Ash for a battle to see if his skills as a champion are true. But Ash doesn't want to do it as he feels a waste of time, but Bede keeps insulting him until Ash decides to do it. Bede sends out Hatenna again and Ash's Scorbunny. Oh, the Scorbunny isn't in the slides. Whoops! That is my bad. Alright, but I'll just say, Scorbunny does a double kick and knocks Hatenna back, and then Ash commands for a quick attack, which hits Hatenna before Hatenna even made a move, and that causes Hatenna to faint. And then Bede stops the battle before Hatenna could even faint, and he finds a way to talk his way out of it, and walks off with Rose and Oleana. Oh, I was a little behind. That might be why Scorbunny wasn't there. Oh, we see Scorbunny now. Ash then runs off the Comfort Hop, and he claims Bede is just a bully, and he uses words to basically put others down. And then he mentions, not by name, but like by experience, he mentions his experiences with Paul, how Paul would insult Ash's skills as a trainer, but Ash worked hard to prove him wrong. Then Guzma, with similar to how Bede had just talked his way out of the battle, Guzma would do the same. And then he mentioned Gary, who would throw little insults at him as a personal insult at him since he knew Ash for a while. But after hearing all of Ash's experiences with like jerk rivals, Hop feels a little better, and he then promises he wants to defeat Bede one day and show how strong he is to him. Meanwhile, we see Goh and Sonia studying the statue of the hero. So, yeah. And Sonia explains to Goh that the hero actually used the Watchtower ruins during the war, so he might be connected to the origins of Dynamax. So then Sonia writes down some notes on it, and Goh suggests that maybe the hero could have been one of the first people who used Dynamax, so Sonia also writes that down too. While they're taking notes and exchanging theories, Bede and Oleana see this. And after his loss to Ash, he decided to go to the hotel that he was staying at with Oleana. And then Oleana calls Rose to tell him to keep an eye on Sonia and Goh. So then the next day, later that day, Ash and Hop then arrive to the hotel and Sonia tells them that they will be heading off the next day. And now one of Ash's rivals is now Bede, and Sonia has some new notes on the Galar hero that can be connected to the origins of Dynamax. Ash, Hop, and Goh all head to Turffield for Ash and Hop's first gym matches. Sorry. They arrive at the Galar mines, where Sonia has to ditch them since there was recently an attack of Dynamax Pokémon, so she wants to go interview the miners. So Ash, Hop, and Goh all agree that they should look for new Pokemon to catch. So Ash sends out Sobble, and Hop is Grookey, and Goh is Skwovet, since it's the only other Pokemon besides Ralt. Goh then sees a Diglett, and he decides he wants to catch this one. So he calls for a bullet seed from Skwovet and throws the Pokeball and catches Diglett. Jesse, James, and Meowth are also at the Galar Mines, but not to catch Pikachu. It's to find James a Pokemon partner from Galar to finally find him one. James says he wants more Peko, but Jesse and Meowth both say, no, you're not getting that stupid rodent who eats all our food. So then James wanders around and sees a Arrokuda in the pond, so he attempts to catch it, but as he throws the Pokeball, a Cramorant comes in and swallows the Arrokuda whole and James's Pokeball as well, and it flies away. And then when James tells him what happens, Jesse and Meowth yell at him that he's incompetent and can't even catch a simple Pokemon. Ash, Hop, and Go all continue until Ash and Hop see a Roly-Coly, and since it's a new Pokemon for Ash, Ash wants to catch it, but so does Hop. So when they both throw their Pokeballs, they hit each other, and the catch fails as Roly-Coly then runs away. Ash, Hop, and Go then make it outside of the mines where Team Rocket has been there trying to catch Pokemon. They then see the group and decide they want to steal their Pokemon instead. So then Ash, Go, and Hop then battle Team Rocket. Jesse's Choodle uses Water Gun, knocking Skwovet away. Hop then calls for Razor Leaf and Go Bullet Seed. And since Jesse's Choodle is taking a lot of damage, and the only other Pokemon is Wobbuffet, who at this point doesn't really battle that much unless they need him to, and it really only knows Mirror Coat. All of a sudden, Cramorant comes out of nowhere and reveals and spits out a Pokeball, revealing that James had caught it when he threw the Pokeball and it swallowed it. So Cramorant is now technically James's Pokemon. James is Cramorant uses Aerial Ace on all the Pokemon, but since it's flying type and none of them are flying types, it has more of an advantage from the aerial view. Eventually, it knocks out. It grabs Pikachu after hitting all of them with Aerial Ace and picks up Pikachu, swallows it, and then Jesse cheers as Cramorant had captured Pikachu, but instead of taking it to them, Cramorant spits it out at Ash, Go, and Hop, and all their Pokemon faint, except for Pikachu, obviously, he's still around. So Hop then has to summon his Corvisquire to have an aerial battle with Cramorant. Hop then calls for a Steel Wing, which hits Cramorant back into the woods area that it had just been in, and then Cramorant comes back with something in its mouth, and it is Morpeko. Morpeko had just been in woods nearby the Galar mine, and actually is now looking for Team Rocket to get it food. So then it uses the Aura Wheel and blasts Team Rocket off. Sonia then enters out the exits the mine with no information. Then Team Rocket eventually land back at their base, and Jesse gets mad at it since the bird basically calls them to fail, but James steps in, protecting its Cramorant, since it is his Pokemon, and Jesse has no right to attack it, so yeah. Hop is now revealed to have a Corvisquire instead of the previous Rookity, and Go now has a Diglett on his team, and Team Rocket have not Corviknight, sorry, Cramorant. Okay, now moving on. Alright, moving on. Ash and the gang arrive in Turffield for Ash's and Hop's first gym battles, and they're both super hyped for it. But as they start to head towards the gym, they see Bede outside the gym, who had just beat the gym leader, Milo. And he brags to Ash and Hop about his victory, and even tells both of them that he doubts they will get their badges. But Ash, obviously being the guy he is, says that he's gonna do it, and he wants to prove to Bede he can, just to shut up Bede, because Ash knows he's better than Bede, but isn't really a jerk, so he doesn't brag about it to Bede. So he tells Bede to watch his gym battle, so Bede of course does. Ash then enters the gym, getting his jersey, and steps out onto the field where Bede Hop, Sonia, and Goh are all watching him. Milo then walks onto the battlefield and greets Ash, and the announcer states the battle will be a 3v3, and then the battle begins. Milo starts the battle off by sending out his Gossifer, and Ash then follows by sending out his Sobble. Sobble at this point has been a little bit more confident than he was when Ash first caught him, so Ash commands for a pound, which Sobble is going to fail since Gossifer uses a magical leaf on it, damaging enough to hurt Sobble, making him cry. And since when he's distracted, Milo calls for another magical leaf, which defeats Sobble. So Ash then sends out his Scorbunny. Ash calls for a quick attack, trying to outspeed Gossifer this time, which works. And then he calls for a double kick, kicking Gossifer. Then when Milo calls for a magical leaf, Scorbunny jumps up, revealing that it learned the move Bounce, and it falls closer to the ground. And as it gets closer, Ash commands for a double kick, which slightly sparks up with fire as the impact hits Gossifer, revealing that Scorbunny's feet are also a little hotter. That's just like in the original journeys when Scorbunny was walking on the sand in the Galar episode, and it revealed that his feet were a little hotter. So yeah, Scorbunny's feet are shown to be hotter by falling from high distance and kicking Gossifer. All right. Milo then sends out his Cheerum, who uses the Dazzling Gleam, and it knocks back Scorbunny. But Scorbunny then uses a quick attack, get back up, and hits the Cheerum. Milo, of course, then calls for a sunny day, trying to get the Cheerum to wake up a little bit. So, and that works. So Cheerum is now in its sunny form. It then starts to charge up a solar beam, which Ash, of course, knowing how solar beams work, he has Scorbunny use another quick attack to hit it before it's finished charging. Milo notices Ash's strategy of not letting it charge, so he calls for a weather ball, and since the Chiramar had already used Sunny Day, it uses a fireball, which Scorbunny kicks back at it since its feet is already hot, and it knocks out Chiram. Milo is impressed by Ash, but he tells Ash that there's still one more Mon left to go, and he's not going to go down that easily. And he sends out his Eldegoss. Scorbunny had already beaten 2 Pokemon at this point, so he's a little tired, but he's really hyped up the battle for his third Mon and get his third win out of the thing. Ash calls for another bounce, but Milo, knowing his what Ash did before, he calls for a Cotton Guard, which basically blocks Scorbunny's kicks and knocks it back a little bit, and the impact from the bouncing back causes Scorbunny to faint. Since Scorbunny and Sobble are gone, Ash uses his Pikachu. Ash has Pikachu use Iron Tail, and Milo calls for Protect, and the Iron Tail collides with Protect. Ash then calls for a Thunderbolt, which does hit the Eldegoss, but then Milo, seeing Pikachu's strength, decides to call for Dynamax. But since Ash doesn't have Dynamax, Eldegoss is easily beats Pikachu after using 1 max overgrowth, and that causes Pikachu to faint because Pikachu is fighting kind of like a Dynamax Pokemon, which Milo has trained specifically to use Dynamax. So after this, Bede laughs at Ash's failure and walks away, not revealing where he goes. And then Milo shakes Ash's hand, saying that it was a great battle. And Ash tells him he's going to come back for a rematch. And Milo says he'll be ready for it because Ash gave him such a great battle already. Ash then walks outside the gym to see Hop, and Sonia waiting for him. And Go suggests to Ash that maybe if Scorbunny knew a fire type move, he'd be able to do better effect on the grass type Pokemon. And Ash agrees, so he's now gonna has a plan of teaching Scorbunny a fire type move before his rematch. And then Ash looks back at the gym as the four walk up to the Pokemon Center and thinks about how he just lost. And that's the end of part 2. And Scorbunny is revealed to learn no bounce. But anyway, guys, that was part 2. I hope you guys like it and enjoy part 2. And part 3 will be coming out soon. And possibly it might have a collab. I don't know. I'm gonna be in talks later today to see about that. But anyway, guys, I'm S-Man, and make sure you like and subscribe for more videos like this, the What Ifs, and more Pokemon anime content specific in general in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Part 3 will be coming soon. I've already written a lot of it, and I'm just working on visuals and the actual script for it. And I want to see if someone else wants to collab on it. But anyway, guys, enjoy your day. S-Man signing off.